Vasomotor rhinitis. So if you look into the nasal cavity, on either side you can see small structures which can be easily seen actually. These structures are turbinates, as you see in this picture. You have 3 on each side, but you will be able to see only one, that is the inferior one. See, these turbinates, it controls the incoming air, the volume of incoming air. It does so by increasing in size. But if suppose this side increases in size, the other side will be smaller in size. So after a period of 4 to 8 hours, this side becomes bigger and the other side becomes smaller. That's how it alternates. Now, in this condition, that is vasomotor rhinitis, rhinitis means inflammation of the nose. In this condition, it includes all the diseases other than allergic rhinitis, any sort of allergy which is concerned with the nose, or structural changes like deviated nasal septum, the septum which divides the nose into two halves, that is deviated to one side, the structural change that is ruled out, it is not included in this, and any infectious cause. All these doesn't come under this, or even autoimmune, like vasculitis, whatever, so it doesn't come under. Other than these 4, whatever is there which produces nasal obstruction and rhinitis, that will be included in vasomotor rhinitis, which includes rhinitis medicamentosa, drug-induced rhinitis, hypothyroidism, pregnancy, recumbency rhinitis, occupational, and so on, even during pregnancy. See, what happens is during stress, emotional conditions, you must have experienced so many times, when you start crying for a long time, your nose becomes blocked and you have rhinitis. Same thing happens when you are exposed to nice food and very spicy food. Nose become blocked and you have rhinitis, you have watery discharge also. And hypothyroidism, even in pregnancy it happens so. And so if you are facing the air condition and directly facing the air condition, that time also it can happen, your nose may get blocked. So all these fall under the category of vasomotor rhinitis. Now, the provoking factors, so which I have already mentioned, it can be stress or emotion, or it can be climatic changes or any sort of irritants like that. Now, the main complaint of the patient will be nasal block and watery discharge and sometimes sneezing also. And some of the patients, they say throat irritation also. On examination, when you put an endoscope into the nasal cavity and have a look, the turbinates will be hypertrophic, means bigger in size, especially the inferior turbinate on either side. So we do a few investigations just to rule out these 3-4 conditions, to rule out allergic rhinitis, to rule out structural changes, to rule out autoimmune causes, and rule out infectious causes. All these 3-4 causes have been ruled out, then for sure it comes under the group of vasomotor rhinitis. So in case there is allergic rhinitis, then the absolute eosinophil count will be high. And with the help of X-ray and CT scan, we can rule out structural changes, allergy changes, as well as infectious cause. And we can do skin prick test to rule out to know what sort of allergy he has got. So all these, like how I have mentioned, this is to rule out other 4 causes, so that we can come to a diagnosis of vasomotor rhinitis. Now, coming to treatment. So if you have any offending cause for that, so as soon as the cause is removed, you become normal. For example, lady is pregnant. So as soon as the pregnancy is over, her nose block improves automatically. Even the nasal discharge nose block improves automatically. And you are in an emotional condition, or you are stressed out, or you have been crying for a long time. When the stress is over, you become normal. You are having a spicy food, you have running nose. So once that situation is over, you are back to normal. So any offending factor, when it is removed, then this complaint goes off. Now, if you ask me any specific medication to control this, then we can use any one of these 3 sprays. Out of that, the specific one being ipratropium bromide. So in adult, you have to use 2 puffs 3 times daily. And suppose the patient says that he has got less of nose block and more of running nose, then azilastine spray will be more useful. And when these two doesn't work well, you can give a trial run of topical nasal steroid spray also. So that's how it's managed medically. Along with that, small things at home, and when you on the bed, the head end of the bed can be elevated to 30 to 45 degrees. And that adds up to the little relief. Now, if we can do some simple yoga breathing exercise, it's good for the nose, nasal cavity, for the sinuses as well as for the lungs. And in case you notice that these changes occur when you're exposed to some irritants, you have to avoid that. Sometimes what happens is, in spite of doing all this, in spite of taking the medical treatment also, the patient doesn't improve. He still has nasal obstruction. The turbinates are bigger in size. And he has got nasal obstruction. He is not able to sleep normally at night. In that case, the option left behind is surgery. So, in surgery, what you do is, the inferior turbinates mainly, the size of the volume has to be reduced. So, at least I can give you 10 or 12 different techniques to make it smaller in size. So, the most commonly used technique is the volumetric reduction, in which what we use is any one of this which is available in the hospital. Any one of. You will not have all techniques or machines in the same hospital. Different hospitals will have different techniques, preferring upon the surgeon. So, you can have radio frequency or coblator or debrider. So, what it does is, suppose this is my turbinate, inferior turbinate, and this whole covering, if I am wearing a full sleeve shirt and the full sleeve shirt comes till here. So, the turbinate, the machine will go inside the sleeve, and whatever the extra tissue is there, everything will be debrided off and it will be made smaller in size. So, that's how this volumetric reduction technique works. So, now let me say a few words about the condition where in pregnancy. In pregnancy, what happens, the lady, she complains of nasal obstruction as well as running nose. But my advice will be, try not to use any sort of nasal spray. The best for this condition is nasal wash. Not only in this condition, all the other list which I have mentioned also, nasal wash, which I forgot to mention, nasal wash is really very helpful. It is nothing but salt water wash. But it is specially prepared, it is specially made, and it's available in a sachet which is available over the counter in the pharmacy. Now, in pregnancy, if it's a must, we can use nasal spray as minimal as possible during the last trimester. First trimester, a big no nasal sprays. Second trimester, try to avoid the nasal spray. Third trimester, if you think it's a must and you are ready to take the risk, yes, you can. But if possible, try to avoid. So, nasal wash can be taken in any of this period. That is the best for the. As soon as the delivery is over, she becomes normal. Now, that's how we manage vasomotor rhinitis. Thank you so much.